The US military is deploying 5,000 Marines to Iran. 5,000! To put things in perspective, the initial invasion of Iraq took 173,000 troops. It took an army the size of a small European country just to take Baghdad, and then 20 more years to set the rest of the country on fire. Now they're sending 5,000? That's not an invasion force. That's a really aggressive book club. And the timing couldn't be more grim. President Trump finally admitted what everyone knew all along. The Iranian people are not going to rise up anytime soon. So the plan has shifted from the people will liberate themselves to this is a sacrifice I'm willing for you to make. And you got to be sorry for these guys that are being sent. They know this is Operation Einstein.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and peace and salutations to elect out there feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, with sincerity and charity. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson, straight into the point. And yeah, you know, things are about to ramp up, right? You know, you're starting to see this devil DJT. He's about to he's starting to send in military in different places, right? You know, and if you're in the military, right? If you're in the military, you are a you are basically an enemy of the Lord, because these militaries, right? You're basically fighting on Esau's side, right? You're fighting on Esau's army, and that's the last place you want to be when the Lord comes back, because you're going to be fighting against the Lord, right? And a lot of these people in the military are just getting sent out like basically like chess pieces, basically. You know, you're basically playing Esau's chess game, right? And as you can see, DJT, right, it's just sent out 5,000 troops, right? Which is obviously this guy DJT, he's controlled by other people, but we know that these are the people that are so-called in power, right? The U.S. government, they're just sending troops, and basically to just get basically to just get destroyed, right? And you're gonna see a lot more than 5,000 coming out soon. They're gonna start putting out drafts, right? They're gonna start basically getting everybody, right? I have the book of 2nd Ezra 16 and 33. It says, the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And that's because what's going to happen is, most of these people are going to either die or die because of war, right? War. And, that whole spirit of these women basically saying, I don't need a husband. I'm fine by myself. Right, or I'm fine without a man, right? These women, their pride's gonna get basically shut up, right? Different people are having different dreams of, men disappearing and only women are left, right? And that's biblical prophecy, because these people are basically just going to get destroyed out here, right? The only people who will survive are the men of the Lord, right? Everyone else is going to get drafted or destroyed, right? And the scriptures say what? They shall be like madmen, sparing none, right? But still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. So a lot of people are going to basically die, right? And they're going to even try to kill, those that fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, right? They're going to try to kill the men of the Lord. Some people will be martyred, right? For the sake of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. But I'm going to play a clip just showing that. This is from the Hopeful Elect 3 and a fair use. Just showing that this will happen, right?
I have to tell you guys about a dream that I had a long time ago because I feel like it's about to happen. So basically how it started was I was in a vehicle and I was driving around the city that I live in, and it was completely dark. The vehicle that I was in was like my real car, a small sedan, blue, right? So I'm in this vehicle driving around, and I get to my aunt's house. She lives in on the nice side of town. And the moon's full. It's not really windy night, but it's just completely pitch black, dark out, right? So I walk up to my aunt's house and I knock on the door, and I look around and I realize that there's literally nobody here. And as I'm walking down the sidewalk, I realize that I'm literally the only guy in the city. And I don't know how, but somehow it was communicated to me by God telepathically, not a literal voice in the dream, that some major war had popped off and that there was no men in the city, right? So as I get told this telepathically, I head back to my car. And when I'm in my car, I'm holding a baby. And while I'm holding this baby, I look over and this girl that I know that's in the army appears in the driver's seat. And she's holding a baby as well. And I don't know if that was God showing me that this has to do with war, because I don't really think that this girl was, specifically means that she was going to stay behind with me. I think it was more symbolic because she was in her uniform. And me and this girl were driving around the entire city holding these babies, realizing that we had a big burden to take care of these babies and that there was no men left in the town. And somehow I had the privilege of not being sent off to war, but that meant that I had this huge left in the town. And somehow I had the privilege of not being sent off to war, but that meant that I had this huge responsibility to take care of these babies. And this girl that was with me was completely silent. She wasn't speaking like she normally does. She wasn't talkative. She was stern and she was firm. And remember, she was in her uniform. So fast forward, and I forget about this dream, right? Well, today, my cousin, who is a huge Roblox nerd and really doesn't care about the kind of stuff, this kind of content, doesn't really watch like apocalypse, end of the world movies. He just cares about Roblox, right? And he designs software and all this. Anyways, he tells me that he has this dream where he sees me in the city that I'm in. Mind you, he lives in Omaha. I'm in a different city. He says that he sees me and we're standing outside of this care center, which is like a boys and girls home or a Critton center, which is basically a school for troubled kids, right? And he says that we're standing there and then these guys that are overweight come with, you know what, boomsticks, and they try to attack us. Well, he says that me and him are standing there fighting them and somehow they're chasing us, but I think he said that we get their boomsticks away from those guys and we end up winning this engagement, right? Well, he says that as we're running down the streets, he notices that he sees our family and that there's literally no men in the family left, and that there's no men left to protect the women. There's no men left to protect the kids, the girls, nothing. And that it's just me and him. And as soon as I heard that, I instantly thought of the dream that I just told you guys about. And the reason that I'm telling you this, guys, is because I don't know why, but I feel it in my spirit that they are about to pull a draft over the entire United States when this war with Iran kicks off. And the reason that I'm telling you this, guys, is because I don't know why, but I feel it in my spirit that they are about to pull a draft over the entire United States when this war with Iran kicks off. You have literally seen nothing, bro. And I'm telling you that I genuinely believe that.
This book of Isaiah 13 and 12, and it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? Ophir, right? When is the last time you see a bar of gold in the middle of the street, right? You barely see that nowadays, right? So the scripture is basically saying that the elect, right, the elect man, not just any man, right, but the elect man is going to be literally more precious than, a bar of gold. You don't see a bar of gold in the middle of the street, or you barely see that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've ever seen a real bar of gold in real life with my own two eyes. Maybe a long time ago, but that's just the Lord's basically showing, right, that it's going to be really, really uncommon, right, to see a man with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right, with stability, right, because most of these people, they're going to get sent to war or they're just going to die, right? In the dream that the guy was basically having, he said he was the only man in his whole town, basically, right? And I'm gonna bring this out. This book of Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Let us only be called by thy name to take away our reproach, right? Basically, in the video, right, this guy was speaking about, that he was the only man. He was the only man that was with this woman, right? And basically, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai is about to humble these stupid, prideful ass bitches, because basically in the vision that the guy had, basically, if you notice what he said, he basically said that the woman, she didn't even say anything. She basically kept her mouth shut. And that's because the Lord is about to take away that dirty ass, nasty ass spirit these women have, you know, where they just keep talking, they talk back, you know, they're rebellious, right? They don't listen, you know, they just scream and you know, think it's, you know, hip hip hooray, you know, just you know, and dance and jolly and folly and drink and twerk their ass and fucking, you know, shake their ass, right? That whole spirit of folly is you know, that house of mirth, it's going out the window, man. You know, the Lord is done, and he's done with these evil ass women, right? And he's basically gonna put things back in the proper order, right? And that has to come with destruction before anything, right? There has to be a collapse first for this to happen, and then the proper order will basically come, right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 6 and 25, and it says, "Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep," right? Which that you can use that to speak about these Edomites, but you can also use that to speak about what these women, right? Because right now on this side in this society, right, Esau, his you know, basically his legal system supports these women, right? If a woman could divorce her husband, right, take his possessions, right, you know, she can claim rape, and she can put a man basically in jail, right? She can commit adultery, and then the court will give her money, right, for her to divorce her husband. Basically, she basically gets benefits, right? She gets, you know, different types of food stamps and free housing, and even, you know, the amount of attention these so-called women are getting from these different types of, you know, people on social media. You know, they're getting hundreds of messages, different messages from, you know, even thousands of different messages from men, basically. You know, they're just getting attention all day, and that's completely out of order. You know what I'm saying? The Lord set it up to where, you know, there's less men on this earth than women, and it shouldn't be the men, you know, going after these women. It should be the women looking for the men, right? Specifically the men of the Lord, right? So this society just favors women. You know, these women could literally go online and you know, literally just shake their ass and, you know, do OnlyFans and, you know, become porn stars and, you know, all sorts of crazy shit and get paid to do all of that, basically, right? So the Lord is gonna take that away from these women, right? And it says, I will read it again. It says, "In that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, and only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." Right? So they're gonna shut their fucking mouths, right? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, "For like as all that is made in the world had a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest," right? So we are approaching the end. Like, there's not going to be another 30 more years, 50 more years, 1,000 more years. Are you fucking kidding me, man? You know, imagine having to live in this fucking place, right? In this earthly, shitty ass, you know, fleshly body, right? For another, you know, for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? No, man. This place is done, bro. You know, we're seeing the prophecies, you know, come out. Things are only going to escalate more, right? And these various prophecies that I brought out, like, you know, what people dying in war, right? Isaiah 4:1, right? These are things that are going to happen, you know, right before the end, right? And we're we're measuring the time diligently to basically, you know, we're seeing that we're close to that period, man, right? Where the Lord, he's gonna put these fucking, you know, he's gonna put these devils into captivity, right? These Edomites, he's gonna set order back, the proper order, you know, and he's gonna he's gonna raise up his elect, right? You know, so these are just some of the prophecies that are about to happen. You know, keep your eye single, right? Keep your just stay on high alert, right? And I just wanted to make this lesson to basically sound the alarm, right? Basically, blow the trumpet, just to warn people. You know, these things are happening, man. People are getting drafted, right? There's gonna be a time of destruction. There's gonna be a time of you know, lots of different people are gonna die, and you're gonna see it. Right, so with that being said, I'm gonna give all glory and honor to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rekakodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and peace and salutations select out there feeding the sheep of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai with sincerity and truth. Shalom.